Record. There we go. All right. So, do you want to do the audit first, or do you want to jump through the notes first?
Yeah, let's look at the audit.
Okay. Get that out of the
Curious
way.
to see what last week looked like. I think it was a good week.
Yeah.
Yeah, sure was.
Yep. Well, it's not really last week. It's like the week before, right?
I'm sorry.
It's like because we're doing this on Monday, and this is the one we usually do on Friday, so it's really for like not last week, but the week before.
Yep. And last week I think it was a rain week. wasn't that impressive. So I'm glad to see something close to 48,000.
Yeah. All right. So hours wise, I'm not seeing a whole lot of overtime here, so it seems like we still do have capacity, right? Because we're getting in like these guys here, Zach, Josh. There's more potential there we could squeeze out of them. We could actually have, 10 hours, 16. I know that some of them are gone that week, right? I mean, no, that was last week, not the week before. But like, honestly, we could, if we have some underperformers, which just jumping ahead, like Maroon's been underperforming consistently, we could just work the other guys more hours and have less headaches and have 2 less employees. Just a thought.
Maroon Crew they have interim people right now. But overall, I mean, they're good. I wouldn't consider taking away hours from Neki and Josh.
Well, it's, if we worked 435 hours last week. So that's if everyone was working 40-hour weeks, it's 11 guys, and right now we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. So we could work less people, more hours, is a thought, and that's without any overtime. If they work 45. We could get away with like 10 guys. So like 10 or 11 would be plenty, and we have 14. Just something to consider.
Crazy. We get 120 less field hours, but we beat our charge rate, and we exceeded budget. And we're down on overtime.
So you're jumping up, right?
I'm jumping up, but it seems pretty amazing, don't you?
Yeah, totally. Yeah, we'll get there. Yeah. I'm just saying that I'm just starting here with the hours, and we could totally have less to worry about, or get more work these guys full time, and then we can do even better. That's all I was pointing out. Because why have 3 extra employees that working part time? You could trade 3 guys for 1 guy. It's less to manage, right?
I don't know if those guys are quite working part time. I think they just had a short week.
Okay, I don't know. I'm just looking at this 1 week sample. That's all I'm looking at. So we really need 10 or 11 guys, and we had 14 that week. That's all.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So job supplies, you got Central Turf. I assume these are all allocated appropriately. Orange, Redwood Nursery, Sadco. See down here, diversified, we have a bunch of materials. We have brush. We probably can't really associate that to any specific job, right? Disposal fee. Then we have topsoil and mulch. These are probably Red Crew.
Yep. And Central Turf is not red, it's orange. Second item down from the top.
Should a reach able to see that on the card that was being used? Or was that on like a general card?
Certainly.
On your card or what's his face's card? Someone else's card.
Jack should have a card. Or maybe he used the loaner one. But Central Turf is definitely gonna be orange.
Yeah. Yeah, so we should I don't know where we're at in that credit card situation, but I can follow up with her.
Yep. Jack needs one, and Noah has one, right?
Yep.
Okay.
Well, we had an email on the credit card.
Yeah, Jack needs one.
Okay. And then red for the mulch, and obviously this is going to drag down this week for their charge rate because it's been used. Obviously we used. Well, we could have used 20 yards last week. Actually, I guess it's not crazy, is it? Yeah, maybe it is.
No,
I don't know.
that sounds about right.
Yeah, and then topsoil. Any idea? Oh, have we asked Diversified to send a bill weekly? Because that'd be so much better, wouldn't it? Because then we could track these stuff each week instead of a month at once and get slammed with big bills and have the numbers all thrown off.
Something I've been on a reach about for a long time, and just she's texted him. They don't do it that way. Tim's a stubborn old mule, so
yeah, just more work for him, right?
Correct.
Okay. All right. And topsoil, is this Red Crew as well?
It is.
Okay. All right. So yeah, top number revenue, we crushed that. Hours, like you were jumping ahead already. So we're low on hours, which is interesting because what we said, I think we set our hours goal more realistic this year than we did last year. But last year we are always overperforming in hours, right? But now we just underperform in hours. This happened last time we looked too, didn't it? The last audit we looked at. These were also that we did higher on the
Yep,
charge rate.
similar situation, right?
Yeah, but it's like the opposite of what we were doing last year. Last year we're low on the charge rate, high in the hours.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly right. So less hours, higher charge rate, as opposed to tons of overtime and hours in the low charge
And
rate.
is this
I'll take this all day.
so the difference here is this, are we running out of do we not have enough work to give them, or is it weather, or what's the deal?
No, we have plenty of work, unless this was the rain week. But I mean, look at our revenue. That's one of the highest weeks we ever had. So regardless of hours.
Yeah, but like our plan here. So like, well, I'm wondering why we can't hit what we planned on. That's all. So
We should be able to with the amount of guys we have. We have 16
exactly.
guys.
We planned on 13 guys working 42 hours. That's what happened. See, right. So, and we actually didn't. We had 13 guys working. Or sorry, yeah, was it 13? Is that what it came out to? Divided by
2 guys are on vacation.
Oh well, they shouldn't have hours then, unless they only work part time.
We have other people filling their shoes for now.
Yeah. Anyway, I mean, I'm just saying, like, if we have the hours hitting the charge rate, why don't we just pump this up? Why don't we pump up and hit and do more work if we have the work?
We have the work. I don't think we can fit any more work in. However,
because the guys are on vacation.
Everybody's working 10-hour days. Either something's wrong. I don't know, but we can't squeeze any more work in. That's a crazy notion. Everybody's working full days, so something's off here.
So so you're saying everyone's working full days, but they're not working full weeks then, because something's not. Like if you look from here down, no one works close to 40 hours in this list. Is it because they're on vacation or?
No. We'll have to look at it more closely, but everybody's working. 3 mowing crews working full time, and a project crew working full time. Everybody's working full time.
So these hours aren't correct then?
I'm not sure. Something's not right there.
Something's not right. All right, well, let's check quickly because that's like a big component. So the week we're looking at is 525 to 531. Rush. All right, so we're looking at, so Jordan says he worked 20 hours, 19 and a half pay hours. So he only worked the 27th and the 28th that week?
Yeah, he took time off.
Okay, so he had time off. So he didn't work full time because he had time off.
Mm-hmm.
Joshua.
He had military training starting that week, I think.
Okay, so
that was a holiday that Monday, right? So everybody had a short week.
Oh, right. Okay, maybe that explains it. And then you know what it was? So we had 2 weeks we were low on our hours goal, and one was because we just told me we had was that a holiday week last week? I think it was
Monday
Memorial
the 26th was a holiday, yeah.
Okay, so that explains that. And the week before, when we were low on hours, you said we had a lot of rain, right?
Rain. Prior,
I'm misremembering that.
Nope, that's correct.
Okay. Efren still got 50 hours in. I guess he probably worked on like Saturday or something.
They work weekend, yeah.
Got it. Yeah, he worked Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday.
7 days.
Friday, Saturday. He didn't work Thursday. He worked Thursday, so he worked 6 days.
We maybe had a rain day that Thursday.
See, if these guys wanted to come in on Saturdays, we could get more hours in, right?
The American guys are not going to come in on Saturdays.
Yeah.
There's nothing, nothing for him to do. I don't want Randy doing mulch. He sucks at it. I don't want Jordan doing mulch. All he goes complaints. So I don't want to overextend projects and not have anything for Efren. So
Yeah.
you know what? Let Jordan and let Randy stay home on the weekend
Okay.
when they're supposed to.
Well, as long as we can keep this rate up, we'll be in good shape. But this is what'll save us. So I'm just looking at because this wasn't our plan. I'm glad we're exceeding on the hours, and we're
Yeah.
glad we're exceeding overall. But like we're just wondering why we're not following our plan because we set a plan. It's only the past 2 weeks, but we've been that's a good significant drop, right?
Yeah.
Um,
Hours.
yeah. So the margin here.
Holidays, rain days, and guys taking time off. I would attribute that to Neki and Josh are doing military
Yeah.
training. Jordan's taking
Yeah.
time off. Yeah, so on and so forth.
Okay. So we can hit more, is what you're saying. So you said we can't hit more, but we can't. They're all maxed out, but clearly not. Like people are in time off, and we had a holiday, so there's clearly more potential there to produce more, right?
No, I don't think there is. If everybody worked as much as they could with rain days and holidays, how could we work more?
Well, I mean, if they're on military leave and vacation, unless we have that every week.
But I have
People
guys
in
filling their
military.
shoes.
Yeah.
We should be getting more hours. I agree with that. How?
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm not going to have the guys that don't do projects come and do projects to get hours
Yeah.
and then take away from Efren. If
What
they're
about
done with
Dylan? You
mowing,
know, should I check on these? Like Dylan, does he is 17? Was he?
he's part time right now because he's still working at Job Lot, and Jose is just like utility guy. I may ask him to stay home one day.
Gotcha.
So there's some variables here for sure.
Yeah. Okay.
I'm not going to put Jose on a mulch job alone. You know, that
Yeah.
wouldn't make sense. Give him hours. If there's no mosquito jobs for him to do, stay home.
Yeah. Okay. All right. So charge rates. So yeah. So margin here. So we hit our margin. We were just a little high. We were a couple grand high because we were really heavy on job supplies. Right here. That's our labor costs. We have a lot of supplies here, but we got hit with a lot of prepaying on this
Yeah.
week. So target hitting Central Turf. I mean, that's a lot. Oh, holy shit. Sadco. Was that one job last week they did?
Yeah, huge side job.
Got it. Okay. Yep. So, I mean, there are a lot of expenses in there. So, yeah, this number is really high, but remember, we're also paying for $5,000 in mulch in there, right? On that week. So we still hit our margin. It's what matters. And our charge rate we exceeded. So let's see how we beat our charge rate. So we got our blue crew here doing mowing. And we're getting a lot better here now because they're at 89 now. They were only supposed to hit 81. So Blue Crew exceeded what we expected for charge rate, right? And they actually beat that here too because every mow crew was going over hours. And honestly, it's just interesting because whenever we talk about mowing, I think about my lawn. My lawn's definitely slowed down. I don't know about yours, but it definitely has slowed down. Like I was cutting it like almost every 5 days, and then now like easily a week, I just kind of let it go. It's going real slow.
Sure. So they're turning up numbers too. Randy was 13 hours over budget the first week. He was 6 hours over budget last week. So certainly in the numbers.
Yeah, so charge rates are coming up. This is really helping our averages here because that didn't happen. We would have been lower, obviously. We got 89. If we follow the trend here, we're just looking at blue. We can look at all of them. Blue. Yeah, I mean, look at that. They went up $10 an hour.
Fantastic.
Pretty solid. Yep. We haven't hit that since April when grass first started growing. They're probably doing cleanup in here too, I would imagine. And then down here we got green charge rate. So they also went up like, geez, a lot. Like it's almost $20 an hour, right? 50, 60 to 80. It's over $20 an hour. So green went up. Did he switch who he was working with?
No, he's going with Nacho consistently now for since they got here.
I know they stopped using that mean green mower too. I don't know which week that was. It was probably right around there.
It was, yeah.
Right. They could probably start using if grass is growing slow. I imagine they could start using it again. And Maroon Crew has just been consistently subpar.
Yeah.
They went up a tiny bit. So what are we gonna do about that? Because they've been consistently not where we want them to be. What should you do about that besides just not getting bonus? Is there anything else? Should we look into replacing them, switching people around?
Well, I think Neki and Josh are great employees. They cross their T's and dot their I's. They're here every day. Positive guys. All good qualities. I think they just need to step it up. So if I just talk to them and say, hey, move quicker, they're military guys, I think they'll do that.
Okay. Yeah, I mean they haven't been, and also if we start hitting overtime and they're not okay, they're not. So got Necky only worked. I don't know about other weeks, but they didn't work that much last week. But I mean, if we start hitting, what happens when you get bad charge rates is they take a lot longer to do stuff. You're getting a lower rate per hour, and now you're also paying overtime, so you get like pinched on both sides. You know, they're getting
Yeah.
overtime for, and that's like what we don't want to encourage. Obviously, these guys get overtime for taking longer to do lawns because then it's in there. They start making overtime like, oh, this is sweet, and they work slower, and we make less margin, and we get squeezed from both the top end and the bottom end. You know.
Yeah.
Well, I think we need to do something. It's been a while now that we've been talking about them, but they just been kind of dragging. So maybe we could try switching up people, or like you said, try telling them to speed up, or give them some sort of whip, because they're not hitting what these guys are.
Yeah. I'll talk to them. I can't split them up. Their nephew and uncle. They're both military. I don't know if that would be effective, for them.
Gotcha. Well, they need to do something because they're not hitting.
They can move quicker, man. That's it.
Yeah, and they see it each week that they're not hitting. I mean, look at the budget hours. They did 84 hours, and these guys took 60. Sorry, the budget was 66, 82, and 88. So Randy still went over a little bit, but he's getting real close, and these guys actually beat it. So Maroon is like still far exceeding, and so I don't know what the hell's going on over there.
Well, they're off now until the 19th, and now we have other people filling in for them, like Zach and that guy Dylan. So I'm curious to see what their numbers look like.
Yeah, that will be interesting, right? So we'll see that next week.
Yep, but I think some of their numbers are on there too because I think they went away last Thursday. So really, Necky and Josh only worked 2 days that week.
Yeah, that's what it reflected, right? They had low hours, so it's going to be kind of mixed up in here with the new crew and stuff. But let's see what these new guys do, and maybe we can move Necky, or maybe we could get moved around to projects or something, or I don't know.
So last year Necky was moving too fast, and Josh, they were moving too fast, and they were getting all the complaints. So I was on them for that. So now they've totally slowed down. They're not getting as many complaints. Now they're just taking fucking forever on jobs.
Yeah, they need to find that balance, right?
Yeah.
It looks like they got some. It looks like Blue Crew. Well, they still beat budget, and they got an hour of. Well, they got an hour of credit, so really they hit budget, right? Because they were an hour under.
Mm-hmm.
But they got an hour of credits, and Maroon Crew got almost 4 hours of credit. So I wonder what happened over there.
Mm-hmm.
So we got Blue. Back tire has a nail in it. Plugging tire because spare has a bubble in it. Well, that should this is something because it's like this is the point of the waste log, right? To track stuff that is preventable. Some stuff isn't, but like, why does the spare have a bubble in it, right?
Mm-hmm.
They should notice that prior when they do their inventory, right? They should check, make sure it's like inflated, ready to go. Well, we can look at this all at the end of the year and just locate stuff that is. She's supposed to only putting stuff in here that's within our control, but that's within our control. Like, did that bubble just form? Since the last inventory, probably not. It's probably been there, right?
Sure, they should be aware of that. There should be a good spare in the trailers at all times.
Yep. So they need to check like the condition and stuff too, not just make sure it's there. But at least they had it. Like that's the dumbest thing. Like when they show up, they drive back to the shop because they don't have a spare with them. But that sounds like kind of what happened. It had a bubble in it.
Yeah.
Very rare problem. Cleanups, service concern. Okay, that's not. Yes, that's preventable. I guess it does belong there, but nothing to talk about. SA wouldn't load. Okay. Meeting with Steve, Noah, and Aunt Kevin. I don't know what that's about. Yard signs. Okay, they got some. Orange got some credit for yard signs. Red. Steve Park job moved to 6-1. Efren time. I don't know what this means.
What is it?
That's Efren time. 4 hours and 25 minutes wasted.
No clue.
Steve Park's job moved to 6-1. I don't know. I don't know what happened over there. It's not really enough detail. Scheduled still on waiting list for Red. Okay, I don't know what that means either. Maroon Crew, here we go. Mow 2 weeks after seating took place. Package client. Oh, I see. So this was a package client, so we can't charge them for overage, and we waited 2 weeks to cut the grass after we mowed it. So it's going to be really high, right? Yeah, but we paid for 2 cuts anyway because they're in a package, right? You know what I'm saying?
Sorry?
So those 2 mows we skipped are built into their price.
Yeah, we got paid for them anyway, essentially.
We're paid for them anyway, yeah.
Yep.
All right. So anyway, yeah, we haven't been paying attention to this, but the unbillable time in their crew is much higher. So I'm wondering if they're. We haven't been keeping tabs on it, but I wonder what that's been each week. Are they wasting time in between jobs? You know, because it's kind of looks like they're being really slow here.
Mm-hmm.
By the way, on this topic, I was talking to my brother yesterday, and they were um, they were having really bad time booking jobs. Their charge rate's really high, and my brother was dealing with personal family issues at the time, so he's distracted. But anyway, he said when he started digging into it, their unbillable time was really high. They were leaving the painting job sites and they were going to the store. And he's like, I bet that's where all of our waste is. So he started incentivizing them, gave them like $100 a week if they don't leave the house at any time during the week, like get their job supplies delivered, like the paint delivered from the paint store, getting stuff, gassing on their own time, what have you.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, so then he said now they were able to drop their prices like 20% and they're booking way more jobs.
Oh, nice.
So it was an inefficiency of this unbillable time. But I think and that made me reflect on us, and I think we got this in pretty good control at this point, right? What do you think?
Yes, especially when the GPS is being monitored. I mean, somebody should be watching where they're going, right? If there's
Well, it is. We have, and I got to look into that's on my agenda. I'm going to figure out with Lewis how much time, because I don't feel like that's a very efficient process and it's just so time consuming. But he's looking at what he's doing to get this unbillable time, like the drive time, is he goes in Google Maps or he looks at their route and he looks to see if they went off the route that was dispatched to them. And if they don't go off route, he's using, because remember we were doing that thing like the 10% budget for traffic and all that shit.
I do. Yeah.
Instead, what we're doing now is he's looking at the route and service, the route they drove and making sure they drove in order. And if they drove in order, he's taking the time and actually took them, because then that's how much it took, right? And they drove the way they're supposed to. However, if they're driving out of the way or going off route and stuff and just not driving efficiently, then he uses the estimated time from Google Maps. So that's where we're doing it now. So it's very time consuming, but I think we have pretty good tabs on it.
But is he letting us know how their driving patterns are?
He's just it's in their budget hours. So if they go off route, he's not going to give them credit for that. Like he's only getting like the budget hours they're getting for driving at any given day. So if they drive and they drove on route, it took them 5 hours of driving throughout the day. He gives them 5 budget hours. However, if they went off route and they end up driving for 6 hours, then he's just going to Google Maps and using what time it should take.
Mm-hmm.
So I got to dig into that process again, but that's what I believe is happening. That's where he's getting it from.
Is he notating if they're stopping at Tommy's Pizza and
let me check whether he's on that. Unauthorized stops, right?
Correct. We'll never know unless we look at it.
Right. But I know he's looking at it. If he's making us aware, I don't know, but I know it's built into the budget hours, so
okay,
they shouldn't be stopping anyway. But yeah, I'm wondering, about some of that. The FERT crew, we've always seen about 50% billable time because it's just not that dense, right? And it takes a lot of time getting between the jobs, and then you're not there for very long, very quick jobs.
Right.
So the FERT crew, even with $4,000 of job supplies last week, they still hit $90 an hour. So that's pretty solid, right? They would have hit. They would have hit 231. That's like what you were hitting. Those are numbers you were hitting.
Yeah, yep. 2s and 3s I was hitting.
Remember all the friggin' excuses we would make about like underperformers, and we made excuses for Anthem. Yeah, just sit in the truck, remember? And get there.
Sit in the truck. He was sitting in the truck with the AC.
Yeah, we make excuses for him though, but we know like you've done it and you did it, but you only did it for like 3 hours, right? And you were like near your house and things like it was very, very efficient. But these guys are now hitting that. Are now hitting that. They're not hitting that without for the whole day. So clearly it's obtainable. So essentially this week we paid for all the job supplies for the entire month. We still got $90 an hour, right?
That's
so it's
fantastic.
Solid.
Yeah.
And then here's all those job supplies, right? So yeah, we did 47 grand of revenue, which is great, but look, $8,000 job supplies is really like 39. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So charge rate, oh yeah, this is projects 98. They're supposed to hit 96. Is that 98? No, it's 96. Yes, they just exceeded the charge rate. So you must have been like very accurate on those bids, especially you must have been bidding it at their rate, at their work speed, because they they haul ass and they just beat it by $2 an hour.
Yep.
And here it's saying they did a lot better on the budget hours on those jobs, beat it by 13 hours.
They're coming in under budget on a lot of projects. It's really boosting our numbers
Yeah.
and billing for the whole thing.
You're billing for the hours and they're coming under budget on the hours?
Yeah, so a mulch job estimated for 8,
Yeah.
they do it in 6, we're billing for 8.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
And I think that's fair because if it goes over, we're not getting extra, right?
Of course.
So projects, and then we got gardening, 67. I gotta check this. This isn't supposed to be 104 because we're billing like 95 for gardening, right?
Yeah, 95. But he's doing some other work too. I think he did a cleanup maybe.
Yeah, but but I'm saying this is the budget rate, like our goal, and there's no way he's gonna hit 104.
There's no way he got that.
Because that
Correct.
number
What is it? 154? 104.
104, yeah.
I don't know. Depends what he does, right?
No, yeah. Well, I guess see where that's coming from. I just got to check the formula because he's not gonna hit 104 if he's just doing recurrent gardening because we're charging 95, right?
Yeah,
It should be something like 95 times if 35% of his time's unbillable, he should be hitting like 62.
He did a cleanup by himself last week. That's probably why.
Well, this is the goal for recurrent gardening. So recurrent gardening, that would be reflecting his actual rate, what he actually got if he did do other work. But this is just pulling based on this. Recurrent gardening, we bid 95. There's no way the target should be 104. So it should be what I just said, like 62.
We're bidding 105 on gardening now, so I don't know if that.
Oh, 105. Okay. So then the target should be 105 times 0.65. So it should be about 68. And here it says he got 67. And he was under budget by 1 hour.
Yep.
Yeah, Kevin's been pretty consistent unless we throw in other stuff, right?
Correct.
Silver. Yeah. And then purple. Oh, purple, that's new. They were doing projects as well?
Purple was doing, yeah. So let's check out their dispatch board for that week. This week in Concern.
Okay. We're looking at the 525 to 531.
Yep. We got that check from Bellamy and Strickland for the transportation. 16.
Oh, that was going to take a couple weeks.
No, quick turnaround. They overnighted it.
How was he going to get that back to us, that truck? Was he going to drive? Was someone going to drive it up, or were they going to like put on a tractor, like a shipping truck?
I'm assuming we didn't have the conversation, but I'm guessing somebody would drive it up and fly back. The opposite of what I did.
You think so?
Yeah, sure.
Because how would they? Because it's too big to fit on like a hauler or something, isn't it?
I think it would make no sense to pay somebody to drive a vehicle that can drive itself, and all they have to do is pay a guy $25 an hour to drive it here.
Right. But still, well, what's that? If you paid someone 25 times how many hours? It takes 2 days.
18 hours. And then a $500 plane ticket. And they charge us $1,652.
Plus fuel. So $450 would be just labor if it was 25 an hour. That's if he drove straight. Yeah, I don't know how they would have made money at that rate if they didn't put it like multiple trucks in one trailer.
Ah, all right.
I mean, like if he drove straight, yes. If he drove straight at $25 an hour times 18 hours, that's $450.
Mm-hmm.
Plus, what did you say, a $500 plane ticket?
Yep.
See, and also if he drives in a truck, they can pick up stuff from up north and drive it back down south too. That's 1,000.
4.5 full tanks of gas at $80 a piece.
How many tanks?
4.5.
4.5. 4.5 times 80 is 360 plus 360. Yeah, so if he drove straight, and if they did do it that way, and he drove straight at 20 for 18 hours, that'd be $1,310. That's fuel and the plane ticket.
Yeah.
They must have been putting on a hauler or something, you think?
I don't know. Well, we know the math. I was curious to know what it was. I mean, if they did it that way, they would have profited $300. Is it worth their time
I
for
was
$300?
also, I was also wondering too, because like my stepdad asked, like, "Oh, were they going to drive it back?" And I was like, "I didn't think about that." I was like, "I assumed they're going to put it on a hauler," but he's like, "Because then you get the mileage on the truck anyway, right? If they drove our truck back, I think it would have gone on a hauler. I don't know how else they would do it for that price."
Mm-hmm.
But also, that truck's so big, how do they fit it on a hauler, right?
Yeah.
Client. Let me slide this over here. 525,
Mm-hmm.
531. Which crew are we looking at?
Purple?
Purple. Power washing, gutters, spring cleanup. Yes, they're
Jobs.
just project. Yeah. How are we doing this power washing anyway? 4 hours.
I'm sorry.
I'm wondering how we do on the power washing actual hours and budget hours. That are showing actual budget hours 25. Yeah, the power washing. So it says they got done exactly the amount of time that they're budgeted. That seems odd.
Mm-hmm.
They took exactly the budget hours. Okay.
Boy, they're good.
Looks a little suspicious, but okay. And then we had another power washing too. Power washing hard. I thought I saw another power washing. Power washing hard right here. 6.6, 4.2. So it took them less. I was just wondering how we made out on our rate matrices on those.
Mm-hmm.
Not like we do a lot of it, but.
Mm-hmm.
So if they were doing projects, they would have come a little bit short, right? 87 versus 96.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe high on billable time. Look at that, 56%.
Mm-hmm.
That would explain it. Because they're under budget or hit budget on the dot to the 10th of an to the 100th of an hour.
Yeah.
So we know it's not from that.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So yeah, let's throw in. So we got to throw in the month's numbers now because that was through the 31st.
Mm-hmm.
So let's look at this up here. So 10% profit, right? And 177, 733.
Mm-hmm.
So let's throw in these numbers. And this is going to be for May. All right, so this is not a May date. May 3rd. This would have fallen in last month, right?
It would have, yes.
Because that's we usually put how many days more fall in the other month, and it looks like how many days are in April? Is it 30?
31. No,
31.
sorry, 30. No, 30.
It's 3 days in April and 3 days in May. That's only 6 days. That can't be right.
Mm.
427. Just look at the calendar. It's 30 days in April, so that says 27. Oh, that's 4 days. 27, 28, 29, 30.
Mm.
So this would have been included in the last audit, right? And that could, we don't want to screw that up because that could be an entire week of revenue, which is big,
Mm-hmm.
throw things off. But I'm pretty. We would have thrown that in April because there's 3 days in May and 4 in April, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it makes sense. It'd be in April.
Okay. So 5/4 to 5/10. Total for period. So let's look at our budgets here. So April or May. So overtime usually do first. So the goal was 5%. And I think we're a little higher. We were at overtime. Uh, 6.8%. So we did work a little more overtime in May. We didn't have the Mexicans, right?
We did not, no.
For half the month. So guys worked a little more. All right, so that's going to bring our 177, 700 down to 177, 300. So it really makes a very negligible difference, which is interesting to see, right? When you think about the way you do overtime. I mean, there's only a difference of 2% in overtime, so it's not huge.
Mm-hmm.
That cost us $400. So now total field hours. So we did period charge rate 77.08. So if we go to May, we beat it. All right, so the goal was 74. We hit 77.08. So it's going to change our 177,300 to 185. So that brought us up $8,000, right? $3 an hour. See how big of a difference it makes charging at $3 more an hour?
Yeah,
It's $8,000,
huge.
$1,000. Because it's times however many thousands of hours, 2,300 hours.
Right.
All right, so 2,380 hours is our goal. We're low in hours. Huh? I thought we were high in hours. 4.3 weeks. Oh, I guess that makes sense. I mean, we already said that we were hitting higher on the charge. Only the past 2 weeks I remember that happening though, that we were lower on the hours, but higher on the charge rate.
Mm-hmm.
It hasn't been a trend. Is it? All right, 2,380. The hours were 1,768.8. 1,768.8. Okay. That brings our 185 down to 157. 9%. The hours we planned on was 2,380. Is it because we got the Mexicans late?
Could be. But I thought we were
So,
factoring that in. They wouldn't be here until May. Well, they were. That is May. When did they arrive? The 11th. It's only a week.
Yeah, it was like right when we planned on, right?
It was.
So
Yeah.
40, with 13 guys working 42 hours a week. That wasn't the case last week. I don't know about last month, but we've been tracking this each week, so we would have seen this coming, right? 4.3
I think.
weeks times 42 hours times 13 guys. Well, wait a second. Isn't that planning? It'll be planned coming in April because 13 guys, 42 hours. That's what this says. So you know what I think happened is that they planned them coming in April and they came in May, right? Because this one here in April says eight guys, 40 hours.
Oh, okay. So we plan on them.
Yeah, we thought they were going to be because they came last year. They came like mid-April, didn't they?
Last year they came the end of March.
End of March. Okay, yeah. So we had a lot more time. So I think we thought we were being conservative by putting the hours in May and not in April, right? So we didn't plan on coming in April even. So we made this budget. We thought we were being conservative because we were like, oh, they're going to come here in May. Let's not plan on April. Let's plan on May, right? And then they ended up, sorry, let's not plan on March. Let's plan on April. So we thought we were already being conservative, but in reality, they didn't come till May. So that set us back some hours because we planned on in this budget, we planned on 42 hours, 13 guys. But how would we done that if we didn't have the Mexicans here yet, right? Plus, these guys haven't been pushing, and we've been consistently seeing these guys kind of slacking a little bit in the hours department, right?
A little bit, not the Mexicans though, just those utility guys.
Yeah, well, they weren't here though. Yeah, I could look back. Version history, see version history. June 9th, June 6th. This one's been that edit. And then we have Wednesday. Let's look at June 1st. Today's the 8th. Yeah, June. Let's check out this June 1st edit. So here they worked 43. Yeah.
What does it say here? Sorry.
Well, we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. So we had 13 guys, just as we planned. And we worked 485 hours. So 485 by 13. That's 37 hours. We planned on 42.
Coming up short.
See?
Yeah.
If we check, and it's June, but that's for May hours. So we check June 1st, we go to like May, what, 24th we'll try?
Tons of rain in May, man.
Yeah, yeah. So this one, 5, that looks like more hours. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So one less guy. And we worked 583 hours divided by 12. 48 hours? Wow. Yeah, I mean, we got him at 49, 49, 48. These guys are really close to 40, and these guys are in their 50s and 60s. So, yeah, this week we put in a lot of hours. Curious, though, right? Like, look at this week, though. Look, high top end revenue. We beat the hours because we just talked about our budget, right? So we beat the hours. But our charge rate is $3 low. So,
flip-flops.
Yeah, so we can hit the hours. I mean, we wasn't short on hours last month. That's it. But we're higher on the charge rate. It redeemed us, but not enough. So for moving on, we got to set the budget for next month anyway. June. So our goal is the same for June, right? So 13 guys, 42 hours. However we do that, the Mexicans will put in more, right? And then the charge rate is lower. That'll save us. Sorry, here's the budget. It's $2 lower. So we're expecting more volume. It's going to start getting hot out, right? Guys will slow down a little bit.
Yep.
So up here, budget hours is going to be June 553. Yeah, same. So that's staying the same, 553. That charge rate we just looked at goes down to 72. .4%. So we aimed for 10 originally, right? At the very beginning of the year. So we can make up for that. All right. Well, I mean, yeah, we're not that far off track, right? And we had things happen. I forget there was other stuff happened in the spring too, right? That brought us back. That brought us down a little bit.
Can't quote you. You mean as far as scheduling?
I think maybe it's just the Mexicans not being here early. I don't remember. Remember we were low on our numbers, and you know what it was in January and February. Planning having hours and got like none. Remember?
We had no work in February. It was cold and snow.
Yeah,
a little bit in January, but nothing in February.
Yeah, we planned on hitting hours in here, but we didn't hit any of them. But then with March, we hit 1,000 hours instead of 200.
So next year we budget nothing in February, and whatever we get is
right. No, if we get it, it's great. If we don't, we can't plan on it. That's the thing. We can't plan on it.
No.
We shouldn't really plan on the Mexicans either because we never know if we're going to get them or not. We don't want to hold boat to say. All right, you got to run, but we didn't really finish. We finished this, which is good, but we didn't go through quickly. I just wanted to point out our debt's dropping down after that big week too. So we're very consistently going down, right?
Yeah, we're still landing in July there or August.
Yeah, it's like looking in August. This it's thrown in this week, which shouldn't be in here. It's thrown off this graph. But yeah, so I told you I ran. This is my back pay for RBS. I ran some of it last week. That's thrown off the. I guess it wasn't. Okay, yeah, 820. It's landing on like end of August. So we'll see. I think it's gonna creep forward though, because like I said, we're very heavy expenses in the springtime. And we're also producing a lot more volume. Like we're getting higher margins each week. Actually, just to verify that, instead of saying how to win.
And did you mention I was spending 38% less than budget in that recent email?
I don't know offhand. Is that what it said? 38% less?
Yeah, I wasn't sure if I read that wrong or if we're spending 38% less. Or if we're performing at 38% less.
Budget. Mechanic budget January through March. This is January through March. Oh, this is the old one. This can't be it. May 2nd. June, it was May, right? May. No, that would have been April, right? Because there's no way May's ready yet. So it must have been April's budget.
It was a recent email you sent, I think.
Yeah, I got it here. Yeah, so beating our budget by 30% through April.
Oh, by 30%.
Oh, it says 38%. Let's see.
Okay.
38% higher net income through April.
Got it. All right. So I
The
did read it right.
actual,
That's great.
yeah, no, that's great. So we're 50 grand ahead through April. So it's right, it's very
So
early.
do we really need to put in more hours if we're ahead?
Yeah, because that's still part of this. Is just like when we look at this, we look on here. This is really like accrual, like when we bill for everything.
Yeah.
And Sean does this on a cash basis, which actually would be nice if he did it on a accrual basis as well, because then we'd be doing it the same way. So cash is like when we actually got paid for it. So like this, we're getting contract that sways like the contract payments and stuff, because we're getting paid that cash, but we haven't necessarily produced it yet and stuff like that. So that's that would sway these numbers a little bit. And there's also, because it's a cash basis too. Let me jot that down. Maybe you can switch to accrual. Because it's a cash basis too, because we haven't paid the RBS bills, it's not showing up on here as an expense because it didn't come out of our cash yet. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
So we owe RBS money because we haven't paid the bill. Whatever bills we paid are in here. Whatever bills we didn't pay aren't in here. Whereas accrual is like based on when you produce the work or when the invoice is received type of deal.
Okay. Hey, go back to the budget for a sec.
Yeah.
So we planned for, speaking of the plan, the operating sheet. We scroll up.
I was sorry, just looking at the trend of our gross profit. I was just gonna make that point that
Okay.
in the springtime we're paying off less. We have less left over to pay off debt, and then as we've been getting going, we're getting bigger margins here. Clearly for like the past few weeks, right?
Yeah,
At least.
sure.
Anyway, what do you want to see?
Scroll up, please.
Yeah.
So the plan was that we'd be doing one more. All the way. Yeah, so we plan to do 553 hours to earn almost $40,000. We did 120 hours less, and we exceeded that by $7,000 or $8,000.
Wait, sorry, I lost you here. So we plan on doing 553 hours
To earn 39, almost 40,000, right? For the week.
Oh, right here. Oh, that's our revenue. Yeah.
A budget
Right.
revenue, correct. So we did 120 less hours, but we beat budget revenue by $8,000.
Yeah. See all the job supplies here, $12,000.
All right, yeah. All right, so that brings us down to
that, right? So you're charging for that plus
35.
probably a markup.
Got it. So we really did 35.
Right. When you take the supplies off.
Okay. All right, I got it.
Yeah.
Fucking supplies.
Fucking supplies.
Yep.
All right. Well, anyway, you gotta run right now, right?
Yep, I'm gonna call.
Okay.
Want to move everything else to Friday on our next call?
Yeah, that's fine. There's
Okay.
probably some stuff we may chat about sooner than that, but okay. Yeah, if you want to wait till Friday, we can.
Cool.
All right. Yep.
Thanks, man.
Bye.
Talk to you. Bye.